Hi everyone, this is Amy with Gundam of Gundams. Today we're just going to go over the introduction of our Gunpla videos. And in the background right now you'll see me building the SD Gundam EX Standard New Gundam. Of course it's an SD model, so pretty simple. And then for this one I did pretty much a straight build. You will see that paper plate in the back was actually one of my Gundam pens for the V-fin that I did color gold. Just a quick reminder that if you have not used your Gundam pen in a while, or any paint marker for that matter, just make sure that it doesn't bleed on you, or else it'll get all over your part, and that probably is not a good thing. So just kind of going over what you're seeing on screen right now. This is the head I'm working on. As I said, the V-fin was painted gold. And in another case, I would probably paint more of the SD Gundams. So in this case for SD Gundams, a lot of the color separation does come from those stickers, and you'll see at the end of the video what the final result of that looks like. But it is, for what it's worth, I think the SDs are very good to actually work on painting, or just kind of doing some different painting techniques and color combinations to see what looks best for what you want to do for much more expensive models. So, you know, if you are doing like a new Gundam that's a real grade, or you know, a master grade or something, and you want it to look really good, probably an SD is a good way to just kind of mix around your colors and stuff, see how things look. But yeah, right now I am just kind of going through making sure. I think this is the arm part that I am actually doing right now. If not, you can always, you know, tell me later in the video, or just make a comment down there. So I did get actually new nippers too. I think these are God hands, and they're actually really nice. And you'll notice that I try to get down to as much as the stub as I can. Sometimes with other model kits I have used like a file or something, but for the most part I think just having a good pair of nippers is a good thing to have. You can get rid of those nubs pretty easily. And you know, as you can probably see on the side of my hands over there, I do carry a bunch of pens. So I actually just bought a whole bunch of Sharpie markers, fine tips and everything, and you can get them in like the various color boxes, you know, 12 colors, or I think mine is like 24 or something, and you can just cover up the stub marks pretty well with those as well. So yeah, you can see I'm just using kind of like the gold or the black ones to cover up those little stub marks so you don't see them very well in the final product. But I found that the Sharpie markers are pretty nice. It's just a nice, easy way to get as a lot of colors that you want. It'll cover a lot of the Gundam palette without having to buy just specialized sets of Gundam markers. I do have some specialized sets of Gundam markers like the gold or like the Zaku coloring scheme, but for the most part those Sharpies do pretty well. You'll also see me using mechanical pencils as well too. I sometimes use that on the white parts just to kind of get kind of a lining going on, to kind of have the white kind of pop out a little bit. Sometimes I don't like having like the really thick black lines when you do panel lining and stuff. So I found that using the pencil kind of works. Sometimes I'll also use a gray marker as well. But I do like the pencil just to go to for like kind of short fixes. So just to give you a kind of quick review of the SD New Gundam, it's kind of a basic SD Gundam, no frills, no nothing. Of course it's not a master grade SD, which is bigger. So, like I said before in the video, you know, SDs are good if you just want to have like a quick build like I did here. If you want to just do some experimentation, especially when you're painting. Or, you know, just if you really want to prop it up nicely, then you can go ahead and paint instead of using things like the stickers. So you'll see later on when I do finish that this one has color separation with stickers on primarily the chest and then the feet. Now the stickers on the SDs can get a little complicated just because they have small tabs that are kind of meant to fold into spaces, and sometimes you won't be able to get it to stretch as much as you need, or it'll overstretch like I did, and you know, it rips a little bit. Thankfully it was the black part, so I used just a little bit of a black marker to fix that. But I would recommend that if you really want an SD to look good, or you know, like I said, if you want to experiment so that you use this SD to do something really cool with a master grade or real grade, then go ahead and paint it. And then of course you'll see I have to clean up quite a bit too because these are such small pieces. Just use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. I usually put it on a Q-tip just to make sure it doesn't run or anything, and then I usually take off the markers or paints or anything, and then you can just repaint it over with the new layer. You'll see that the funnel parts are all basically sticker here, and it was a little annoying. So it's all white stickers you have to put on top of those black pieces and stuff. Those stickers were not as hard as like the feet. The feet are probably the ones that I had the most problem with. Other parts that I did end up painting, like I said previously, I painted the V-fin. I did the fist with some silver just to kind of give it a little color separation. And then with the other accessories, I did the gun, give it a little black, a little bit of silver. I did not touch the beam saber at this point just because it was all white, so not even like a normal kind of like plastic pink part that they would give you in kind of a high grade or anything higher than that. So I just left it white. So just to kind of close out our introduction of Gunpla, I don't know how Josh will want to actually build his Gunpla. I will probably finish off a project that I had going before I was in the middle of my move, and then I might randomize it because I do have a big backlog, so that's what I will probably do. You'll see me just finishing up the project here right now. And then I'm also going to bring in my blind box of the new Gundam that I got as well, just to kind of show you a size comparison. So this is just one of the new blind boxes that came out, and the blind box is pretty chunky. It's also just a little bit bigger than the SD new Gundam. And here we go, final project. Thanks guys, thanks, and I hope you subscribe, and we'll have more Gunpla coming up for you.